I think just first a couple of process things that perhaps haven't come through entirely clearly. This bill, this $748 billion bill, is unanimous. It has the support of all of us, and I think that's very important. It's a consensus product to deal with the true emergency associated with this pandemic at this moment in time, and I think that's important. The other piece involving state and local aid and liability, we couldn't come to a uniform consensus, although there's still work going on in that area. So I think that's important. A second kind of process piece that may not be obvious is we're not handing the Senate leadership a concept draft. We're not handing them an outline. We're handing them a bill. This could go on the floor of the Senate tomorrow. It is in legislative language. It's been through legislative council. So we've taken a lot of the work out of this for them and hope that this will be the basis of the package that emerges at the end of the week. Now, there were two areas that I worked on in particular, actually three, but two in particular were addiction and mental health and broadband. Addiction and mental health, we are going through an epidemic not only of coronavirus, but of isolation, suicide, and depression. And that is going hand in hand with the elements of this terrible virus that is afflicting us. So there's a significant portion of this bill that deals with not only opioids, but methamphetamines, alcohol, other substances which are prone to abuse, but also mental health centers across the country, a very important part of the bill. Broadband is here because if there's anything we've learned from this pandemic, among many other lessons, is that we need to be connected. Seniors need to be able to do telehealth. Students need to be able to connect with their schools. And there are huge gaps in this country in terms of connectivity, particularly in rural areas, in places like my state of Maine. So there's a significant portion of this bill that directly addresses that in terms of emergency of connectivity over the next several months, but also in terms of developing the infrastructure to make those kind of connections important. The third piece that I worked on intensely was liability. And I realized today that I've gotten more texts from Rob Portman in the last week than from my 20-something daughter. And that sort of puts in perspective how hard we've been working. Rob and I have worked intensively. We've shared proposals back and forth. We couldn't quite get to the conclusion. And I want to make it clear. Everybody here, including myself, is concerned about the threat of lawsuits and what could happen to businesses, to hospitals, to doctors in a situation of unfettered litigation. On the other hand, there's a concern because when you talk about lawsuits and litigation, you're also talking about injured people. And you're talking about people who have a right to be heard and have a right to compensation if they were wrongly injured. And so what we've tried to do is to balance those two interests. We couldn't quite make it. The House is continuing to work on it. I'm optimistic that they may be able to find the solution. Rob and I will continue to work on it, and it may be that by the end of the week we'll be able to merge these two bills, because I'm a huge advocate for state and local aid, but the sort of agreement going in was that those two issues were related and they were going to go either together or separately. So that's the status of that discussion. But the final thing I want to say is I hope in the not too distant future, when a group of bipartisan senators calls a press conference to talk about how they've been working together to solve an important problem, nobody comes. By that I mean this should be the way it always works. This shouldn't be so unusual as to bring all of you here. I want this to be routine. All of us have commented to one another that this has been one of the most difficult, but also one of the most rewarding legislating experiences that we've had in this body. Sitting down, arguing, differing, issuing our statements, working with our staffs to try to get our points in order, to do the work that made it. This is the way it's supposed to work. So my hope is that we're going to have so much bipartisanship that it will become routine and will be the way that we routinely do business. And I think that's something that the American people will deeply appreciate. I know it's something that they seek. This is a Christmas gift to the American people, and I sincerely hope that our colleagues in the Senate and the House and the White House will seize upon it, execute the work that's necessary to finalize the package, and I look forward to seeing the help that we've offered go out to the American people in the next several weeks, days and weeks. Thank you.